Lagos is brought to you by the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund.
Message is brought to you by Mike Frost and Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM.
Obey the rules and regulations of the road for your own safety. Know the drive like say you get extra life for house. If you go, you don't go be that. The people know if see you again be that. Why you dey follow one way when you're day on call and you know say you don't drink beer before? Save your life, take 'em easy. Obey traffic laws, know the rules, follow the rules, and the rules will protect you. Know the rules, follow the rules will protect you. You better make you late, than make you late. Life no get back to. If you drink, don't drive. If you must drive, don't drink. Save your life, take 'em easy. Obey traffic laws.
You're listening to Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM.
For May 2012, we go just dey drive without information. Information about traffic for road. Information about waiting cause am. Hey, but now you we dey hear. Traffic radio, now you we dey hear. Information about traffic for road. Information about waiting cause am. You get better traffic managers with the give us and information. Tune in, job, Barashiti, Ojendo, last time waka, inside Mirema, I'm at it back with the traffic careful. Now soon. I'm listening now. Tune into
Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. Moving Lagos forward. All right, the program is still Accelerate Lagos here on Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. And like I said earlier, my guest will be joining me via telephone, Patience Brima, a program officer at African Food Change Makers. All right, let me let my guest on the show this morning. Good morning, Patience.
Yes, good morning.
All right, good to have you on the program.
Thank you so much. Good morning.
All right, then. Can you give us a brief overview of the exportation landscape in Nigeria and how it has grown over the years?
Okay, thank you so much. So, the export landscape in Nigeria has actually grown over the years from what it has been. So, over the years, Nigeria exportation has actually focused on mainly the oil and gas sector. And this oil and gas sector is actually something that almost everything and everyone in Nigeria actually depends on. And it is popularly known as the exporter of commodities and crude, petroleum, gas, and with little attention paid to other things. Other sectors are not even having any attention at all. So, though there was still an export in agriculture, mainly just cocoa, which is very minimal to what was happening in the crude oil and gas sector. But then currently there's a new trend in the Nigerian exports that has actually paid more attention and is paying more attention to the agri sector, as both government, private and non-private sectors are now providing tremendous support to SMEs encouraging them to go into value addition, to local commodities and even provide capacity building support for them to even enable them to send products to the export market. That's value-added products. So we have commodities from Nigeria going outside the country right now, unlike it used to be just cocoa before. Now we have so many other products going outside the country and even value-added products going outside the country. And this is a great cause that the African food chain makers are actually championing. We are focusing on changing global narratives of Nigerians and the Africa at large, pushing to get made in Nigeria products and African foods on global shares. So it is not just importation now, but now we're pushing to get more of the Nigerian-made products, Nigerian-made foods and products actually in the global shares. And then the market value for non-oil commodities has even commodity exported has actually grown in Nigeria. In 2022, it was staggering about 5.6 billion, which is actually a remarkable increase from the previous years. So it is noteworthy to say that the growth in agriculture has actually grown so much that we have reached a value of over 1.3 billion in 2022, which represents an increase, a very significant increase of about 36% in the export surge in Nigeria. Thank you.
All right then. You made mention of Nigerian produce that are non-petroleum products now going outside the shores of Nigeria. Can you walk us through some of these commodities that are sought after outside Nigeria? Because I'm sure someone is out there thinking, what can I do on the side? Okay, I have this money and I'm looking to invest in something, but I really don't know what to invest in. The market is saturated, but tell us some of these things that are sought after outside Nigeria that one can actually tap into.
All right, thank you so much. So, some of the commodities that have been sought after outside Nigeria are cocoa, which was about before. I actually mentioned earlier that cocoa was even being exported earlier, but then it wasn't a big deal like it is today. So cocoa is a big deal right now. And apart from just being a big deal, there are so many value additions that you can do to cocoa. There is the cocoa powder now, there's the cocoa butter, there's cocoa syrup, there's juice, there's the chocolate, there's cocoa liquor, there's a whole lot of things. Even cosmetics can be derived from cocoa to tell you how significant cocoa is. And then there's the ginger too. Ginger drink, ginger biscuits, ginger spices, a whole lot of things around ginger. There's the sesame seeds, there's the potato. So there are lots of, even cassava. We produce a lot of cassava in Nigeria, but then we're not even exporting significant amount of cassava.
How can we export cassava when the produce from cassava are even a lot expensive now? Did you catch that joke? Should we be exporting cassava now that things are even more on the high side? Talking about price, a lot of farm produce from cassava are now on the high side, and we want to start exporting cassava.
Serious, yeah. So that's actually where the government comes in to make some of these things readily available, even for SMEs, to actually help SMEs reduce the cost and then the production cost of some of these things. Because if you look at it, the products coming from cassava are actually very expensive. I agree with you. That's an expensive job, but it's not expensive. So seriously, there are so many commodities and value additions you can make, and value addition even make your product even more accessible outside there. Help you to actually look out for regulations and compliance and all of that. So most times when you add value to your product, the regulatory issue is no longer much of an issue than it is when you are just exporting normal commodities, where you have to look out for moisture content, you have to look at for oil content, impurities, shelf life, and all of those things with just exporting commodidities. But when you have added value to your product, it becomes more attractive outside.
Okay. Now, you as a stakeholder in the export landscape. Walk us through the procedures. Say I have a farm produce, or I have some money and I really want to invest in exporting farm produce. What is the procedure like? Because I hear in the past, I hear it's quite cumbersome, and it can be really tough because some of the farm produce here gets rejected outside the shores of Nigeria. How true is this?
Yes, thank you so much. So this is actually very important to look out for what is acceptable outside there before you try to start exporting, or even when you are looking out for probably a particular product to start exporting. The first thing you need to do is to do your market research. And conducting market research is also very important for exporting. So you can look out for a particular country, and the country is actually not even ready to accept what you have to offer. They are not. They have some specific regulations. They have their ways. They have there is the culture there. There is the language there. There is their standards there and all that. So you really need to learn all of these things before you go into that market. For example, if you want to do a market entry, you can just start with normal internet research.
Okay.
Ask Google a lot of questions, like type on Google, I want to access the U.S. market. What is U.S. market about, saying about cocoa, or what is U.S. market, what is their regulations about cocoa and all of that? What are the export duties there? What are the compliance stuff there? What is their packaging and their labeling standards? Because there is a way you package your product in Nigeria and it's not acceptable in another country.
Like
so
what? Like how? Like how?
For example, I want to go to the U.S. market and I'm using cellophane. Cellophane is not what they want. It's jute bags they prefer. Okay. So they have their different labeling and packaging standards. So you look out for it so that your product don't get to the port there and then just at the port they are scattering and destroying your products and all that. Why? Because it's not meet their compliance and all that. So there are different things that you really need to look out for. Apart from just performing market research, a lot of product adaptation. Like, can you adapt your product to what the market really wants, to their regulations there, to what they really prefer there and all that. For example, in Netherlands, they really do not do pepper a whole lot. And then you want to do a value addition on chin and then it's a whole pack of pepper you're putting inside and all that. So you really need to understand some of these things and also be able to conduct market analysis and financial analysis as well. What is the cost of production? What is the cost of shipping? What is the cost of compliance regulations and all that? What is the cost of marketing? Yes. What is the cost of logistics and planning to be able to get my product from Nigeria to the US, for example, or to India or to Brazil, for example? And it's very important that if you're starting to export or you want to look out for exporting, look out for countries that their strictness is not, they are not that strict. For example, different countries have different ways, different compliance and regulation methods and all that. An example is Netherlands is stricter when it comes to country products coming into their country than Brazil or Ukraine or South Africa, for example. So you really need to do a check on what market you are entering. It is better to enter into one market one after the other, not just I want to export my product. I want to go into cassava and I want to export to Brazil, India, and Netherlands. So it is better to look out for a country and say, let me penetrate into this market share. Then after you have penetrated and gain some form of customer base and all that in that country, you can now say, let me see how to go into this other country. And just like that, if you go into it once, it is dangerous, right? It can destroy a lot of things.
Okay. All right, Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM, Accelerate Lagos is the program. And if you're wondering who I have been speaking with, I have with me on the phone this morning Patience Brimo. She is the program officer at African Food Change Makers. This morning we are throwing the Beyond Borders Export Readiness for Small Businesses in Nigeria here. All right, quickly, let's tell you what the roads are saying before I take a short break. It's slow from CMS Bridge descending inward of Fink Canal, while it's good immediately after Fink Canal connecting Eko Bridge. Yes, I have a report of an impediment. It is a truck having, it's the hub, entire hub pulled out. Okay, that's at Palm Grove in Jenny Anthony. Okay, but the effort is on to get it out of the road. I will take a short break for some messages. When I return, the conversation continues.
Dáni a máa fún wa ní àwọn èdè púpọ̀ sí láti súnmọ́ Ọlọ́run. Àwọn èdè púpọ̀ sí láti.
Gali and connect to 25 destinations across Africa, Europe, the Middle East, and Asia. Experience world-class service, comfort, convenience, and reliability. Book now. Call 01-279-9018 or contact your preferred travel agents.
Run there. Fly the dream of Africa.
Why have you been washing your hands frequently for some time now?
Oh, it's this Lassa fever, my dear. It's back in town.
Really? But what causes it, by the way?
Lassa fever is caused by Lassa virus, which can be contacted through food or drink, contaminated by the saliva, urine, or excreta of rats, by eating the rat, or by touching the eyes, nose, or mouth of an infected person. Its symptoms include fever, headache, and joint pain. Lassa fever can cause death if not properly treated.
What? So how can one prevent it?
Wash your hands from time to time like me. Dispose of your waste properly and maintain a clean environment. Avoid rats and cook your food very well before eating. If you see anyone with Lassa fever symptoms, please report at the nearest health center or call the Directorate of Epidemiology, Biosecurity and Global Health on 0802-316-9485 or 0813-741-234. Health workers, please be on high alert and take necessary precautions. Lagos State Ministry of Health. Announcer.
What takes a plate of jollof rice to the next level of goodness? Is it when it is cooked with no sizzling cubes for that sumptuous taste? Or when you serve it with correct Nigerian salad, cabbage, carrot, lettuce, and a bit of kidney beans?
It's both. Season your jollof with the rich taste of no cubes and serve with plenty of vegetables. So go ahead and elevate your meals. Today, eat for good.
Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria and the economic hub of West Africa, offers significant business opportunities across various industries. With a high population, ongoing infrastructure development, and sustained economic growth, the city provides favorable conditions for entrepreneurs and investors to thrive. And one of it is what the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund is doing with supporting businesses in Lagos through financial and enlightenment support. And yes, today on the program Accelerate Lagos, we have been speaking on Beyond Borders, export readiness for small businesses. I still have with me on the phone Patience Brimer, a program officer at African Food Change Makers. Patience. Hello, Patience. Are you still there?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so let's now talk about why export is important. Okay, exporting goods is important because we need to really know if there is a need to actually export stuff in Nigeria now.
Export is actually there's so much benefit in exportation, and I'll just probably list a few of them. The first is that there's market expansion. So for export, you are able to tap into new markets just beyond your domestic boundaries, and then you're able to learn new things, and there's a kind of market expansion for you beyond just the local market that you have, beyond just the local environment. And then there's this diversification. So if you are able to enter into the export market, then it has reduced the risk of economic downturns or market fluctuations that's available in your own country. For example, Nigeria, what we are seeing today with the dollar increase, decrease, and the fluctuations in and all that. Once you have diversified into the export market, all of these things will really even just affect you as an SME. Then there's the competitive advantage. You offer unique products that that are not readily available in your local market, and then it has given you an edge over your competitors in the local market. And then profitability. One of the reasons why people go into export is the profit. But then I want to say that shouldn't be the only reason, but because it can cause chaos if profitability is the only reason one is going into export. There is the higher sales volume. I'm still talking about profitability. You're able to get enough profit margins in certain markets compared to your local market and all that. Then there's the expanding into the international market that will help you to innovate, to be able to adapt to other products and then to other services in the other market. For example, there is coconut fruit today. There is coconut value addition in coconut today, which were not initially, but then people started innovating, started adapting to new technologies, new markets, and all of that. And then this it has become like a big deal for people. Then there is the brand building, enhance your brand reputation, and then your brand recognition. You are no longer just a local company or a domestic company. You are now internationally known, and then your brand is known beyond borders. Then there is the exporting that opens up a world of opportunities for small business to grow, thrive, and remain competitive in the global market. So when you continually export and all that, even your in the local environment, you are beyond just competitors and all that. Then there is the strategic alliances, which is also very important as a nation. Just beyond SME, there is a strategic alliance that exporting actually brings. And then there is the foreign exchange alliances that is good for countries, not just the SMEs alone, and then it increases also the GDPs of countries and then the forex of countries as well.
Okay, so what key factors should small business owners consider when deciding to export their produce?
Please, can you come again? I didn't hear you.
Okay, so I said, what key factors should small business owners consider when deciding to export their produce?
Okay, so the factors to consider when deciding to export is that the first thing is to actually decide whether you are ready as an SME. Are you ready financially? Are you ready? Is your product ready? Is your product competitive? What is your product quality? Firstly, and that's actually very important. What is your product quality? What is your product labeling? What is your product packaging? What is even your purpose of exporting? Is it that you want to boost foreign orientation, or you just want to make profit? What is your promotion how do you want to promote your product and all that. So some of the factors that you look at for is also export documentation. Are you ready to go through the orders of contracts and Incoterms, export documentation and all of these things? What is your production capacity? When you get a demand from the market, are you going to be able to provide and produce that demand? Are you going to be able to meet up the export demand that we are being asked? And then how much do you know the consumers in the market you are targeting? For example, you are targeting Netherlands. What do you know about their culture? What do you know about their language? What do you know? How can you adapt to their language and all that to be able to ensure that, I am exporting to a Netherlands where lots of people speak Dutch there and all that. How do you want to adapt your packaging, your labeling, your product description to Dutch to be able to fit into the market that you are going into? And some of these things actually still boils down to your market research. You really need to know where you are going. What is the government's regulations there? What is the rules as it has to do with export and all that? Can you just come into the market and export and just give what you have and all that? What is the moisture content for the particular product that you want to export? For example, I want to export ginger and all of that. For the country you are going to, there is this, and you need to be able to also state it clearly and all of that. There are different documentation to this and all that. And the export market is more of paperwork and logistics. That's documentation. A lot of documentation goes into it when it comes to export market. So all of these things are factors to consider before you start thinking of exporting into a particular market.
Okay, so as much as we want to dwell on exporting the African produce, the Nigerian produce, showcasing what the land has been blessed with to the foreign countries, I believe there are two sides to a coin. As much as we have the good side of exporting, we also have the parts that entrepreneurs should look out for. So can you walk us through some of the potential challenges and some of the potential challenges small businesses might encounter in the process of exporting their produce and how to overcome it?
Okay, so some of the potential risk or some of the potential problems you might face in the international market is likely have a lot to do with quality standards and compliance. So you really need to understand that the international market is actually very dynamic. It's really tough. And all that. To be able to access the international market, you really need to be able to look at for the quality, the standards, and then the compliance, and then how competitive that market is, and then what is the risk in that market. For example, there could be political instability, there could be currency fluctuation, there could be change in trade and regulations and all of that. So some markets would really want you to have all of the certifications as needed to be able to assess the market. For example, you want to go into a market and then they are saying, oh, in this place, this is what we require. And there's nothing short of it. There's the different risks that is associated. Let me call them risk. Yes, there's this risk, different risk. There's the payment risk. For example, you can even get a fake letter of credit. You can get open accounts and all of that. So you are using open accounts. You need to be able to guarantee your payment. You need to be able to have that documentation that is clear enough to guarantee your payment. You need to be able to have that second person that stands for you in that market and all of that, so that you don't keep getting fake things. You don't get to export your products to a particular place and you get to that market and the customer is saying, oh, this is not what we agreed, this is not what we agreed on and all that. Please take your product away. That's already like a waste already. You don't get paid for that kind of food, for that kind of market and all that. So you really need to understand the payment risk and then the management risk as well, which is almost like the logistics and transportation. How do you transport your product from one market to the other? So markets are actually more difficult. Your product can be in the sea for like 1 month and it has interacted with the environment. What is it going to look like when it gets to the destination and all that? These are some of the risks that are associated with international markets, which makes it very delicate for people to assess and then do business freely internationally.
Okay. So we're fast running out of time, but we shouldn't fail to touch on this salient issue, which is the legal angle to raise some of the legal certification that business owners should ensure that they do before you commence exportation. And then, yes, legal certification and the quality standards that business owners should ensure they do. Walk us through these in 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Okay. So the first thing, like the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, you really need to register with the Nigerian Export Promotion Council before you are able to do any form of international business from Nigeria. And then for other African countries as well, they also have their different councils or their different standards and certifications that you need to get before you get into the international market. Then apart from the NDPC certificate, what of the certificate of quality, the contract agreement, the contract agreement this time around has to do with the Incoterms and then the contract in itself. How about the pro forma invoice? How about the bill of landing? These are examples of just specifications or quality standards that you need to get before you are able to access the international market. And the first of all is that you need to have that certificate that guarantees that you are an exporter in Nigeria, which is the NEPC certificate. The others are just on the quality point of view, which is the contract, the agreement, the certificates of quality, the bill of landing, the pro forma invoice. All of these are certifications that you need to get to be able to export freely from your local market to the international market, or to be able to access the international market. And then there are some global standards that are already established. For example, if you want to export, there is a global standard for it. Or what is your knot count? What is your good kernels? What the tolerance level of your knot? And all these are different standards that you need to look out for before you start exporting.
All right, then. So as we take this all home, one word for our listeners and potential exporters.
Okay, so for the anyone that wants to go into export, the first thing I would like to say is that gain understanding of the market you want to get into, or the market you want to access. Gain understanding, learn about your potential market. Don't just go into a market because there will be much profit if I decide to export my goods from this place to UK now or to US now, having so much dollars, and it doesn't work that way. You need to gain understanding, and then that's what we do with the Scaling Export Program at African Food Chain, because we help small and medium scale enterprises understand the market that they want to go into. We help them to understand quality specification and standards. We help them to understand export documentation, how to prepare for the export market entry, conducting market requirements, even down to intellectual property protection, branding, and labeling. These are the lot of things that we do at the African Food Chain Makers through the Scaling Exports Program. Right. So seriously, it is something worth it to learn about the market you want to enter before you enter into that market.
Thank you. I must say a very big thank you to you, Patience Brima, a program officer at African Food Change Makers, for taking us to the classroom this morning on export readiness for small businesses. You actually did justice to this conversation this morning. A very big thank you to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Right there, let me also say a very big thank you to the social media team, John Afe, and the entire crew. Massive thanks to Victor Oteri. Our executive producer is Taya Akoli. I am Taiwo Baruwa. Lagos State is one of the nations, that's Nigeria's success stories in non-oil export. as key component of economic diversification. And of course, this is the path that the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund is towing in ensuring that the small-scale businesses in Lagos are actually growing and, of course, attaining the greater heights. This is where we get to drop the anchor on today's edition of the program. Until I return next week for an insightful conversation, Lagos, stay on the good side of the law and obey all traffic signs. Be good to one another. Times are hard and you just want to be kind to the next person to you. I remain Taiwo Baruwa.